You become pro-Asian enough, you start listening to Black people and become pro-Black as well. I'm not talking about individual Asian advancement where you play pick-me to white people, cater to them, make yourself smaller for them, maybe marry one of them, and then move up in society that way. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When you're interested in the liberation of the Asian American collective and in Asians around the world freeing themselves, and specifically to Asian Americans because we are a relatively new ethnic group in America, you realize that Black Americans have been liberating themselves for as long as they have been here, for over 400 years. You look at the way that they ostracize the pick-me's in their community, the Candace Owens, you can see what happened with Onyeka, the Danish deception girl. Black people, and specifically Black women, did not let them off the hook. Candace Owens can no longer go to Black people for any kind of support or help because as a collective, they have disowned her. Why are Asians not doing more of that? Look at the way that Black people have created their own spaces, created their own communities throughout American history. Even when white people have gone and tried to destroy them, they have managed to create their own culture, their own language. They're protective of those spaces. They embrace their ethnic features and hair texture instead of just doing whatever Karen is doing. And this, I'm talking generally. I'm not saying that every Black American is like this. I'm saying that a lot of them are, and that the general sentiment that I get from that community is that they are proud to be who they are. So if you're Asian and you're thinking, I want to be able to wear my qipao to school. I don't like it when people gentrify my food after making fun of it my entire childhood. I don't like being fetishized, and I will not marry someone who does that to me. When you start thinking this way, you just look right on over to Black people, and they've already had those thoughts. They've already done the same thing. You just do it in your own Asian flavor. And this doesn't even get into the fact that our liberation is all tangled up in each other. Like all the minorities in the US and in the world, overthrowing white supremacy is like a collective effort. And Black people have been telling us this since we got here. I'm just hoping that if I say it, then maybe you will listen.
What?
I've been seeing a lot more content about Black and Asian solidarity, so I wanted to share my story. Before I was embraced by Asian folks, I found a sense of belonging in the Black community first. It's where I learned about brotherhood and camaraderie, and also how to rap. And even now, as someone who's unapologetically Asian as fuck, my love and respect remains the same. Because honestly, if the Black community in Atlanta didn't support me and encourage me to rap when I was a teen, I probably wouldn't be an artist right now. By the way, these type of cultural exchanges have been happening way before me, and it's more common than you think. So don't let social media make you think we're all against each other.
Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Tables of Reactions. I apologize for not dropping videos in a couple of days. I was dealing with a death, so excuse me if my voice or my energy is a little off. But today we got kind of an important discussion pertaining to racism in America, issue that's prominent but don't never seems to go away. It's 2026, bro, and people still racist when Black people have literally done nothing wrong to anyone. But hopefully the world will start to see before it's too late. Just like these Asians are starting to regret how they have been basically siding with white supremacy this whole time. A lot of them giving their own stories of how they become to relate and see how Black people and our fight for liberation is actually similar to theirs, and that we should be more allies against the system rather than enemies. So these TikTokers been seemingly to regret their behaviors and their decision to side with white supremacy. And as you know, of course, you always gonna have your people that don't agree with it, i.e. white America anyway, the racist ones. Just like you could comment on a post or just make a post, and it don't even have to be negative, but there's gonna be some person that comes on there with negativity. And the comment don't be racist all the time, but you could tell that the negativity from the comment is based on racism. It comes from a place of hatred. Racism is based on hatred. If I don't like somebody, I stay away from them. If I don't see them, they not in my way, I just won't talk to them, won't mess with them. But how can you hate somebody that you're trying to be like? How can you hate someone that you copy? So it seems more jealousy to me, but I'm not going to talk for too long. Let's get into this video. Shout out to Prophets for the clip, man. That's the way I got the video from. I hope I ain't butcher your name. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the gang. And yeah, let's get into it.
I'm mad at Asian Americans
Because why are we so smart but so silent? What's with the silence? I suspect that if we opened our mouths, we would side with black people and other brown people as the real American heroes. Yeah, we're brown, not white. But this would disrupt the white supremacy brainwash we're caught in. And deep down, we hate ourselves for siding with whiteness. We know they're wrong. Our silence is the sound of us hating ourselves. But that's the Squid Game trap that they set for us, an Asian American matrix that messes with our reality. And it's all based on hating black people. You know, the ones we're all secretly trying to copy, even the white peoples. White supremacy isn't smart, but it's tricky like that. Do you like being tricked? I don't know any Asians who put up with that. We gotta decolonize ourselves and find Asian joy. Therein lies our voice.
When you become pro-Asian enough, you start listening to black people and become pro-black as well. I'm not talking about individual Asian advancement where you play pick-me to white people, cater to them, make yourself smaller for them, maybe marry one of them, and then move up in society that way. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When you're interested in the liberation of the Asian American collective and in Asians around the world freeing themselves, and specifically to Asian Americans because we are a relatively new ethnic group in America, you realize that black Americans have been liberating themselves for as long as they have been here, for over 400 years. You look at the way that they ostracize the pick-me's in their community, the Candace Owens, you can see what happened with Onyeka, the Danish deception girl. Black people, and specifically black women, did not let them off the hook. Candace Owens can no longer go to black people for any kind of support or help because as a collective, they have disowned her. Why are Asians not doing more of that? Look at the way that black people have created their own spaces, created their own communities throughout American history. Even when white people have gone and tried to destroy them, they have managed to create their own culture, their own language. They're protective of those spaces. They embrace their ethnic features and hair texture instead of just doing whatever Karen is doing. And this, I'm talking generally. I'm not saying that every black American is like this. I'm saying that a lot of them are, and that the general sentiment that I get from that community is that they are proud to be who they are. So if you're Asian and you're thinking, I want to be able to wear my cheap to school. I don't like it when people gentrify my food after making fun of it my entire childhood. I don't like being fetishized, and I will not marry someone who does that to me. When you start thinking this way, you just look right on over to black people, and they've already had those thoughts. They've already done the same thing. You just do it in your own Asian flavor. And this doesn't even get into the fact that our liberation is all tangled up in each other. Like all the minorities in the US and in the world, overthrowing white supremacy is like a collective effort. And black people have been telling us this since we got here. I'm just hoping that if I say it, then maybe you will listen.
1 second, everybody. Before we get back to the video, I just wanted to let y'all know about the website, The Urban Experience, at www.thaturbanexperience.com, where you can get this hat and this t-shirt, or you can get another specific combination that's already available or that you design. And don't forget, you can get anything put on the brim here, anything, feel me? And you can get your designs, you can design your designs the color you want it. You can make your designs the color you want it. We offer a wide variety of products, from chakra stones to jewelry, merch. All of our jewelry is handcrafted from 100% pure copper. You know about the copper? Yeah, you want to. When you sign up and join our mailing list, you get 10% off absolutely soon as you sign up, and the mailing list is free. We just released 2 new flavors of body butters, strawberry and cotton candy, but vanilla bean is still my favorite, I'm not even gonna lie. We also just released different colorways of the shirts and hats. So as you can see, we got some new products up here. And don't forget that you can also color the designs your way. You can make the tongue a different color, the teeth, and the lips a different color. So keep that in mind. We will be releasing more base colors soon. Last but not least, don't forget to check out the things that we offer for absolutely free, including Xbox Series X and PS5 games. Depending on where you live at, you may have to pay a small fee of shipping and handling, but everything is absolutely free. We try to upload as often as possible, so check back as soon as you can. That website is www.thaturbanexperience.com. I want to give a shout out and thank you to everybody that's been supporting us and putting in orders, man. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed. And don't forget, if you're a YouTube subscriber and you're looking to purchase off the website, you will receive a further discount if you have joined the mailing list. You get your subscriber discount anyway, but you will be able to use your welcome discount with your when you join the mailing list with your subscriber discounts. So just keep that in mind. You can end up getting up to 50% off if you really tapped in. But let's get back to the video.
So I'm gonna rant a little about Asians who want to be white so bad. I was having a conversation with someone the other day and she went to a gathering, right? These people are Asian, right? But there were two white guys. Someone brought the Malona ice cream. The girl, who's Asian, goes, "Ew, is it an Asian ice cream?" And then she'd make comments like, "I wouldn't know because I don't have an Asian friend." She made another comment that said something like, "This feels like a whole bunch of Asians playing with two super smart white guys, playing a word game," some shit like that. It's so cringe just seeing Asian people try to cater to white people. Asian people act like proximity to whiteness makes them superior. You can literally feel the energy shift when someone has internalized racism. It's this weird mix of embarrassment, superiority, and "I'm not like those other Asians" vibes. And honestly, it's painful to watch. I've seen it so many times. Some Asians act like the second they get a white friend group, they level up in the social hierarchy. Suddenly, everything Asian is cringe or weird or low tier. And you know what's the funniest part? They'll distance themselves from anything remotely Asian like it's toxic, and then they will over cater to their white partners or friends. Do you hear yourselves? It's like watching someone actively shrink themselves to fit into a box that was never built for them in the first place. Look, I get it, all right? A lot of Asians grow up being praised for assimilation. A lot of us are raised to believe whiteness equals safety, opportunity, acceptance. That's literally how internalized racism works. Acting like being white adjacent makes you superior to your own culture. Acting disgusted at your own food, your own features, your own background. It's not about hating anyone. It's more about calling out a pattern that harms all of us. Because when you look down at your own identity, the world learns to do the same. So yeah, Asians who think being white makes them better, just know that the rest of us see right through that.
I feel it on that, because that's just like when I see black people, you know, talking down on their own culture, or like I can understand when people be like, "God damn, like, do you gotta act like that? Like, you ghetto, like they acting out of order." I can understand that, but when that's like saying a person will be like, "Damn, they black," when you black. Like, people don't get it that white supremacy was they were the shepherds that led the herd towards self-hate. And it's crazy because I never really dove into other cultures as deep enough to realize or even know that they hated their self. Sad to say, I thought that was only a black thing. But hearing them talk about it and hearing them say the cause and the reason was trying to force themselves to be white or fit in with the white people and with white America gives me all the more validation that that is truly the problem. White supremacy is the problem because they see other people that they feel inferior to and create all of this controversy. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comments. And I know I'm gonna have some white people down in the comments, but hey, talk y'all shit. But I ain't talking about all white people, because I got white people on my phone right now that's cool as a motherfucker. Matter of fact, me and my man Jeremy, we about to go get some Pokemon cards this weekend. So yeah, I'm not talking about all white people, but it's definitely a large amount.
I've been seeing a lot more content about Black and Asian solidarity, so I wanted to share my story. Before I was embraced by Asian folks, I found a sense of belonging in the Black community first. It's where I learned about brotherhood and camaraderie, and also how to rap. And even now, as someone who's unapologetically Asian as fuck, my love and respect remains the same. Because honestly, if the Black community in Atlanta didn't support me and encourage me to rap when I was a teen, I probably wouldn't be an artist right now. By the way, these type of cultural exchanges have been happening way before me, and it's more common than you think. So don't let social media make you think we're all against each other.
Y'all wanna know something that nobody's ready for in 2025 except for those who already seem to fucking know it? Black people, they are the aboriginals of every continent. Dark-skinned people are the aboriginals of every continent. Native Americans migrated over the ice bridge from Siberia, that would be Asia, and became what we now know as Native Americans. Yes, they lived off the land. Yes, they knew how to give back to it, so therefore they should be considered indigenous. But the people who were on that land before them and the ice bridge even formed were black people. Black people also built pyramids on every continent. That's why there are pyramids on every continent. The Buddha was a dark-skinned man. The Chinese, we have a lot of trouble denying that we come from melanin. We do. We've tried. We have not succeeded. The difference between us and every other group is that we can admit to the fact that we came from melanin. Why can't everybody else? It's not erasure to say that black people were the aboriginals of every country. We're not saying you didn't exist. We're saying you came after. What's so hard to understand? Just like me saying that Koreans came from China. It's not me saying that they don't have their own culture. That's how all of these Korean nationalists took it in my comments. Oh, you're saying we don't have our own culture or genetic identity? No, I'm saying that culture and genetic identity came from us. If you are not tapped in, and you don't talk to marginalized groups, and haven't spent any time with them, y'all gonna be offended by what I'm saying. Trying to be seen keeps us from opening our eyes. Black people were here first. Black people were here first. Black people were here first. And whoever that pisses off needs to leave my channel, needs to block me. All the above. Koreans, their genetics, their culture, came from the Chinese. From what is now known as China. And where did the Chinese come from? Black people. And if y'all are upset with any of this information, go away!
Alright, I'll bite. Black and Asian solidarity isn't just something that I want, it's something that has lasted for generations. Now, I'm not going to deny that there have been instances of tension between the Black and Asian community. There have been individuals in each of our communities that have caused harm onto one another. At the same time, and most importantly, by and large, both communities want to work together and build towards a better future. And let's take a look at history. The abolishment of the Chinese Exclusion Act was largely due to black civil rights leaders advocating for it, which led to the passing of the Hart-Celler Act in 1965. And there have been leaders such as Yuri Kochiyama and Grace Lee Boggs who have stood side by side with the black community fighting for the liberation of black people. And for years, the Japanese American leaders have used reparations given to Japanese Americans after Japanese internment as justification for why the black community should also receive reparations. So yeah, like any community and people, we have differences, but there's a hell of a lot more love.
So unlike this platform, on Threads, you can kind of tell who I am, especially if you click on my profile picture, but it's not super obvious. And earlier today, I made a post, text only, saying, in addition to being a first-class athlete, Taylor Townsend is part of one of the most educated demographics in the United States. That other one is just a sore loser. And a commenter, a white guy, came back with, Taylor Townsend is an Asian. So how about you run those statistics again with master's degrees and doctorate degrees? And you know I'm not going to stand for that. So I came back with, as an Asian American, how about I run statistics for bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and doctorate degrees on your demographic? And his response was deleted so fast. But it's not the first time on Threads that a white commenter has started to argue with me in a way that makes it clear that they assume I'm black. And that's always a reminder to me how comfortable they are in the assumption that the only people who support black people are black people, and at how comfortably they reach for Asian American identity to weaponize against black Americans. And part of me feels like if you're a white person who's going to pull that garbage, then stand 10 toes down on it. Don't be a coward and delete it when you're called out. And part of me feels like if you're a white person who's going to pull that garbage, then stand 10 toes down on it. Don't be a coward and delete it when you're called out. On the other hand, part of me is glad that commenter knew well enough to be deeply embarrassed that he had to try to use the education levels of Asian Americans to challenge the education levels of black women because his demographic is too mediocre to even enter the conversation.
Why do they think they're white?
Okay, I wish I could stitch that video, but basically that person is asking, this person wants to know why so many Korean Americans try so hard to be white. Or in other words, why do so many Korean Americans try so desperately hard to be accepted by white people, and why do we think that we will benefit from white supremacy? And the answer is U.S. imperialism. It's always U.S. imperialism, particularly migration pathways that were carved out by military occupation. So let me explain. When I was really young, my mom used to always tell me, oh, if you go to Korea, if you live in Korea, people there are going to hate you. And I remember that confusing me so much as a kid, because why? Why would they hate me without knowing me? And so I tried to, press her for an answer, and she would just say, oh, it's for no reason. They're just jealous that you get to live in the U.S. Flash forward, when I'm in school or college, and I'm taking Asian American Studies courses, classes in critical race studies, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. A lot of us already know the U.S. is not this benevolent country that takes care of its citizens, let alone immigrants, indigenous people, even its own veterans. And abroad, the U.S. terrorizes the global South through military occupation and other means, which includes Korea. You don't ever hear about or see people in Korea, Korean people in Korea, protesting U.S. occupation, but it's there. And there's still this dream or hope of both Koreas one day reuniting or being reunified. Very generally speaking, more recent Korean immigration into the U.S., or maybe I should say from the 1970s onwards, these are people who have the means to. They have the money, the capital, the resources, the social connections, and maybe even more importantly, they want to. They want to come and live here. So are the people who resent the U.S. for imposing themselves into the homeland, dividing the nation into two, and in the process separating families forever, are they going to want to uproot their lives to live in the country responsible for that pain and suffering and ultimately this loss of self-determination? Or are the people who sympathize with the U.S. and view the country as this welcoming, benevolent nation, as the saviors almost for coming into the war, are they going to be the ones to want to move and live here?
Asian people in the US are so weird, liking white people more than their own people.
Think of it like this. When COVID hit, remember all the anti-Asian rhetoric that was going around America? Now imagine that energy stretched over a lifetime. Growing up, I'd hear that Asian men are not attractive, we only know how to do math, we can't drive, we have the funny accents, the slanty eyes. It's really hard, given all of that, to grow up as an Asian man in America and be proud of who you are. Now imagine coming home and the people in your house are Asian parents who don't express their emotions, who lay hands on you, who don't ever apologize, who make you feel less than for not wanting to be a doctor or engineer. Mine also called me stupid. Oh, you'll never get into this school, you'll never do this. Look at my friend's son and what he's doing. And so when both your indoor and outdoor environments make you question your self-worth, of course you're going to try and be someone else. I think that's human nature. And in America, what group do you look towards? White people. They are the heroes in all the movies, they're on all the magazines. It is very easy to put them on a pedestal, which I did, admittedly. And my story isn't unique. Now, these days, I am proud of who I am, and my heritage, and my facial structure. But it took a long time and a lot of personal growth and a lot of help from cultural phenomena like K-pop. There is so much more to say about this topic, like, for example, how a lot of Asian Americans don't feel connected to their extended families because they're not Asian enough, or how I, in college, saw up close white people with their close families and how that impacted me. But I want to keep it short. I hope this helps you and other Asians who didn't grow up in America understand us better.
Why do Asian people hate being asked, where are you from?
Oh my God.
See that? See this collective, it's because we've all had that question. Where am I from? Yeah. Is the answer Los Angeles good enough? No. Never. Where are you really from? Like, do you want to know which suburb of Los Angeles? Is that what you mean? No. Like, where are you really from? Dude, just ask me, what is my ethnicity if you really want to know? But it annoys me.
But it's the why.
Why?
Why do you need to know?
Why is it important? You know why it's important? Because you want to tell me how much you love K-pop. Because you want to tell me, 안녕하세요. Because you want to be able to say something. And I understand. It's not to say that people aren't just genuinely interested in you or like want to get to know you.
1%.
But I feel like if somebody genuinely wants to get to know you, these things will come out in conversation anyway. I don't know any Korean person that in the first maybe 10 sentences doesn't proclaim, oh, I'm Korean. let me take you to my favorite Korean restaurant or whatever. If it comes up in conversation, don't worry. Like, we'll tell you, you'll know. And we'll probably volunteer it if you give us enough time. I mean, and when I say enough time, like 3 minutes, maybe. Like, that's all I need. I'll tell you, and then they get so offended, right? Where are you from? I'm from LA. Where are you really from? Well, I'm like really from LA. No, but like really, I'm from those two people. Yeah. That's where I'm really, really from. Those two people right there. That's where I'm from.
When they used to ask where my parents were from, I sometimes used to just lie. Like, also from LA.
I thought you were going to say like,
I just wanted to be so contrarian. You know what I mean? Like, really stick it to them. Like, right. Why can't I be from here? Because I don't know how well educated you are, but like your family's not from here either.
Right. Well, and that of course plays into the perpetual foreigner myth, right? There's no way I could be from LA. Look at my face. I can't be from Los Angeles, even though I was born and raised in Los Angeles. But you know what I mean. Yeah. No, what do you mean?
Let's ignore the fact that Koreatown's like a third of Los Angeles.
What do you mean? I don't look like I could be from here. I mean,
As a kid, I didn't really learn about anti-Blackness at all, and it was only when I got older and I was looking into my own history as Asian Americans that I realized how much we gained from the African American civil rights movements. Our first leaders in the Asian American civil rights movement were heavily inspired by the Black Panthers. In fact, some of them were even members of the Black Panthers. This man here is Richard Aoki. He was one of 3 Japanese Americans who joined the Black Panthers. Especially in the 1960s and 70s, there were many Japanese Americans involved in civil rights activism, like Richard Aoki, I just mentioned, Yuri Kochiyama, Mike Tagawa, I believe, and part of that was from their experiences of internment. Even today, Japanese Americans remain one of the most progressive ethnicities of Asians in America. And I do want to reemphasize that you shouldn't have to get personal benefits from something in order to empathize with that cause, but I want to just really drive home how much Asian Americans have benefited from Black Americans. For instance, it might be hard to read this, but Langston Hughes is here speaking and criticizing the use of the atomic bomb. He basically believes that it would not be used against white countries. Now, obviously, the atomic bomb has not been used again since it was dropped on Nagasaki, but he had valid reasons to fear that. I mean, General Douglas MacArthur was very much of the mind that we should just nuke Korea off the map and that would solve the communist fear during the Korean War. And Martin Luther King, in his 1967 address, I believe, in this address he spoke to recognize the horrors and the tragedies that Vietnamese people had to face during the Vietnam War. Malcolm X, friends with Yuri Kochiyama, was also an advocate against the use of nuclear weapons in Cold War Asia. I'm not trying to say this in order to diminish any racism that and prejudices that the Asian American and African American community have had against each other throughout centuries, but what I am saying is that we ultimately have a common struggle and cause against white imperialism, and that trying to constantly blame one side or the other and buy into white supremacist ideas is harmful to everyone. This page is from the Nadia Kim's book, Imperial Subjects, and she speaks about how even Korean soldiers and civilians noticed the difference in treatment that white soldiers and black soldiers received. And additionally, they showed that they felt a little more companionship and fraternity with Black Americans than with white Americans based on similar experiences of oppression. And some people are going to accuse me of cherry picking, and I do agree. I am picking out examples that support my idea that Black people and Asians can be allies for each other. There's been plenty of examples of crimes against both sides by either party, but I don't think that that ultimately should be what we allow to characterize our community's relationships with each other. And especially as an Asian American, I've firsthand benefited from a lot of Black movements. I mean, when I was a child, I grew up in a predominantly white space, and I would be a little distant from other children of color because I was worried about becoming a bigger target for harassment and racism that I faced a lot. And as I got older, I went to a high school that was 51% Black. It was very diverse. And that's where I first learned to really love and accept myself. And it was because oftentimes owed to these friendships I'd formed with Black women. And as somebody who is dating a Black woman, I feel like it's my duty. Like I've been her friend for years before we were dating. And I think I do need to learn more about my partner's community in order to be a better support for them. And I think that too many of us don't really consume content outside of our specific niches, or we only want to learn about things that we find directly applicable to ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're all connected. And I think learning about each other can really never be a bad thing. Because I am only human, there are some subjects that I generally won't make videos about just because I've received a lot of hateful comments in the past for trying to bring that to light. But I do want to still try to encourage education and discourse. So I think in the next video, I'm going to make about why there's a lot of Asian-owned businesses in Black neighborhoods and other histories that I think are applicable to our daily lives. But I do apologize if I don't address something that people might want me to, just because in the past I have had to private videos because I was taking a toll on.
As an Asian millennial that grew up before BTS and before K-pop and K-dramas blew up, the world looked pretty different. I experienced my fair share of racism growing up and just in my day-to-day. I love that the world looks different. Asians are kind of seen as cool now. And Asian kids aren't gonna grow up with the same type of trauma that millennials and older generations grew up with being Asian in America, which I love, I'm so happy about. But I thought I'd take a stroll down memory lane and kind of walk through some things that happened in my life that were kind of racist and weird. So the first thing, I was born and raised in New York. When I went to elementary school in Queens, I was put in ESL. And even at that age, I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, why the hell am I in ESL? I can speak English. I can read and write English. Like, I don't understand. This feels kind of racist to me. But yeah, nevertheless, I was in ESL for several years. I don't remember exactly how many years, but that was something that happened. And a lot of my classmates were also Korean Americans born in America. So that was weird, kind of racist, no? And actually, I'm curious if they still do that to this day. Let me know in the comments if you guys know. 2, this is something that kids used to do a lot. And, I can't really fault kids because they're kids, so they don't really know better, I guess. Like, they don't know much. I didn't experience this personally because my name is Laura, so I did have an American name. But other people with, Korean names or just like ethnic names, if someone's like, oh, my name is Jiyoung, then they're like, oh, what's that in English? What's the American version of that name? And it's like, there is no American version, bitch. Like, it's just a Korean name. It's just a Korean name. There is no American version. You're living in a Eurocentric world where, like, for example, if there's an Italian name of like Davide, in English, it's David, right? So you're living in this Eurocentric world where names are all like Latin based, and that's just not the case for most countries in the world. So I feel like that doesn't happen as much nowadays. And people, I feel like our collective consciousness has grown and progressed to where we now understand and realize like, oh, Anglo-Saxon names aren't the baseline. So that's great, but that's something that I used to see happening a lot. 3rd, this wasn't exactly like racism, but just, something that I remember and I'll never forget. But I was eating a sandwich at Court Street Grocers, sandwich shop in New York. They have a sandwich with kimchi in it. And this happened like 7 years ago, before Korean food really took off and became popular. I feel like everyone knows what kimchi is now. But there was this group of people eating there, and this girl is like, oh, what's kimchi? And then her friend is like, it's fire roasted cabbage, actually. The audacity. And yes, these were white people. And yes, the person saying that was indeed a white man. But I was just blown away by the audacity, the caucasity. I'm like, he didn't even say it with any shred or inkling of doubt. It wasn't like I think it's like fire roasted cabbage. He was very sure of himself, and he was like, it's fire roasted cabbage. I was, me being Korean, listening to this, I was shook. Next, of course, the classic, and this still happens to me to this day. Not as often, thankfully. The classic, where are you from? I'm from New York. No, where are you really from? I'm from New York. Okay, where are your parents from? Used to happen a lot more. It used to happen all the time, actually, but it doesn't happen as, I still get that question though. I still get that question, but it doesn't happen as often. So I'm happy about that. Yay, progress. Just a little walk down memory lane. Let me know if you guys have any similar experiences or other experiences that you experienced growing up that, you know, you don't experience anymore, because we have experienced some progress in this world, which is great.
All right, that was a little powerful. I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment. I, for one, think it's a bit relieving. It's relieving not that they're starting to feel the pain that we feel, but they're starting to understand the life that we live. They're starting to understand the sacrifices and the weight that we hold and we carry. How long and strong we've been fighting for liberation, despite what we do to each other in our own community is our business. Like, for the simple reason that if a family in the house is having a altercation, you wouldn't go in that house and say, hey, what's going on here? No, you would mind your business. So I'm saying that to say that in rebuttal to when people say, oh, but it's black on black crime. Bro, that ain't got nothing to do with y'all. That's amongst each other. That's our business amongst each other. For the same, we don't say nothing about white on white crime, or you know, or green on green crime. But the fact that they going through on their own journey to freedom, and they starting to see how close that they are to us. Being pro-Asian means being pro-black, basically. We're fighting for the same cause, and like the one woman said, we've been saying this from the beginning. And I wanted to point another thing out, because they were saying about how they was out. They were basically telling instances about how they were out in the world and they were receiving racist comments. For example, the where you from. Oh, I'm from LA. No, where are you really from? Bro, that's white people asking that. A black person wouldn't even go that far. If a black person was to ask you where you from, you say LA, oh, alright, bet. Like, that's it. Only a white person or a person that has supremacy on their mind or in their perspective think like that, because for one, they think they own everything anyway. And like the other lady said in the one clip, your parents not even from here. So how are you trying to attack someone for being an immigrant when you are in fact an immigrant? The only people that's truly native to this land is the melanin. Native to all lands, to be a fact. And I know some people not going to like this, but this is the truth. And the truth is going to be heard, because the people that were once silent are not staying silent no more, because they have started to realize that has become more detrimental to their progress than actually being racist in itself. And it baffles me how deluded people are to actually throw insults on a person that's the same as them, but they don't see themselves as that externally. Like it baffles me. Are you that delusional? But now they're starting to see that was the basis of self-hate. That is the foundation of self-hate. But I don't want to keep rambling on. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comments. What do y'all think about this whole video? I, for one, believe any race, not just Asians and blacks, but any race any ethnic group that's fighting towards freedom and liberation, we should all be allies. Not just against white supremacy, but against any system that threatens humanity in any aspect. We should be allies in any fight against any system that tries to take control of our God-given rights. These people have been seizing natural resources and giving us the artificial trash for years. They've been teaching us about a materialized history while keeping the true history hidden for themselves. And I just think by us becoming more conscious as a collective, it's time to stop feeding into the negativity, to stop going along with their plan, stop being silent, stop being negligent and idle. It's time to take action, and it's time for us to unite and overcome this system. Once again, this is another episode of Tables of Reactions. I want to thank y'all for watching. If you made it this far, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Welcome to the gang. Thank you to everybody that's been hitting me up on the website and supporting. Don't forget, you get 10% off as soon as you sign up and join the mailing list. And that can be in combination with your subscription on YouTube or Twitch. I haven't been live on Twitch lately, but we will be live today. I want to thank y'all for watching once again. As always, you guys are amazing. I want to give a shout out to Profez. That's the name of the guy who did the channel. That's the name of the channel who I got the clip from. Sorry, I'm just butchering a lot of stuff today. As I told y'all in the beginning, man, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. I apologize. Don't forget to tap in to the website where you can get this hat and this shirt and much more. www.thatexperience.com. I feel like this was a very well needed topic we touched today, and I feel like us all uniting and trying to move forward, this should be a part of discussion, and we need everybody input on this, even the white Americans, because we need you all's perspective too, even the racist people, because we need y'all to come on here being racist so y'all can tell you all side or why y'all racist, or bring that racist in here so you all can be put in y'all place. This 2026, ain't nobody running from this shit no more. It's time to face these demons head on. But you all got more demons to face than we do. And the thing is, if you all wasn't so stubborn and hateful, we would face y'all demons with you all. But peace and love to everyone. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far in the video, man, I want to give you a special thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the channel, if you like the content, man. And don't forget to hit the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos or give you guys updates on old ones. But nonetheless, I just want to thank you all for supporting, and I want to thank you all for watching. It's been another episode of T Wizard TV. I love you guys, and I'm going to see y'all next time. She didn't have to cut me off.